Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. This is Reza Mubin. How you guys doing? I hope everybody's doing great out there. Okay, for this evening, I'd like to speak about a recent development that I heard, which has to deal with my ex-employer. Yeah, and I'm addressing this issue because it has also been affecting my job applications at the moment. Okay, so right off the bat, let me just explain and share with you that after meeting with a couple of general managers with an ex-employee of mine, I was told that as many as 25 employees had resigned from the company. Yeah, and to sort of backtrack a little bit for you, I had left uh, the company called Cisco Security back in October of last year due to some irreconcilable differences. And following that, I was told that as many as 25 of their staff had departed. Yeah, now that's a huge blow and a big number for a fairly small and medium-sized enterprise type of company, which didn't have that big of a workforce at its headquarters in Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, so something drastic must have happened. Something big must have happened, and I have some idea of why they would have left. And to be frank and open about it, it would have had to do with the dealings and the workings, or the way an interim CEO of theirs operated. Yeah. So to elaborate a little bit further, when I was attached to Cisco back in August to October the 3rd last year, I was designated as the consultant for branding, communications, and business development. And as time passed, I found myself more and more involved in the business development side of their activities and operations. Yeah, and the reason being is because Cisco really needed to acquire new clients. They were losing some, and not many companies were able to afford the new mandatory 1,500 ringgit minimum wage for security guards that the government had enforced. So they had to scramble and make up those numbers, which is which is the reason for me being recruited and joining on board. So what I did immediately for them was that I started developing these databases of potential clients and prospects that they could approach. Yeah, and these consisted of MNCs, regional players, regional companies in Malaysia that could afford their services and which needed their services. It also included manufacturing companies, electronic companies, which have plants or manufacturing areas and facilities that do have guards. So they definitely could use Cisco's services. So what I did was I developed as many as 4 different databases for each of Cisco's main core businesses. And from there, I started sending out email pitches, yeah, to all these prospects and potential clients to share with them what Cisco could do, what Cisco could offer them, and find out, if we could help them in any way, shape, or form, with regards to security. Yeah. Of course, besides just email blasting or sending out these pitches, I also had to follow up with cold calls to these companies to acquire their feedback and find out if they would be keen to do business with us, or if they needed more information, or would like to come to speak with us at some point in time. Yeah. And besides that, and this also relates to the corporate communications and branding side. I also developed a bunch of corporate presentations or corporate decks and pitches for the company. You know, one consisted of a new company profile, which I will share with you later. Another was a customer acquisition deck. The third was a customer retention deck, and also a customized pitching deck for a company called ST Microelectronics, which I developed and prepared. Yeah. You know, I spent quite a considerable amount of time developing all of those materials, which the company didn't have before, or which needed to be refreshed in the case of the company profile. And the way I went about producing or developing these materials, that I knew that Cisco needed to differentiate itself from their competitors. Yeah, at the top of the tier or the top of the pyramid, we have G4S, which is a worldwide security company that is globally well known and has a very strong and excellent track record throughout the world. Here in Malaysia, they are the biggest security provider in the country, the largest in terms of private security. And then you have other small players and medium-sized players, which are about the same size and level as Cisco Security. So in order to differentiate us from all these different companies and set us apart and basically create a new positioning for us, I shaped Cisco, you know, through the decks as a company that was quite sophisticated, well experienced, a company that had well-trained security guards, and a company that you could trust. Yeah, because ultimately, with the company having been in business for 45 years up to last year, it goes to show that it's a company that's been around and has lasted through the times. Yeah, so all of the clients that it has had over the years can, you know, speak well of the company, and therefore their reputation in the market is fairly solid. So for any company to last in a business or in an industry for 45 years is a testament to how well they've been managed and how well they've been run over the years. And not all companies or not every company can claim that. So that was a strong plus point that I sold or that I pitched out. And then secondly, not many other private security companies in Malaysia knew how to market themselves or sort of position themselves in a manner that could reach out to a global audience. And a part of that reason is because of the language. Yeah, a lot of the content on their websites or social media accounts were in Bahasa, for example, or were outdated. Yeah, so the material that I produced was very fresh, very innovative, cutting edge, and projected a very dynamic and progressive look. Yeah. On top of that, of course, I was very active on social media on my personal LinkedIn account. Almost every day, I would post about Cisco's services and how it could benefit you, the public, or, you know, prospects in the private sector, even public sector. I also posted about general crime and safety news, which was relevant to the nature of business and the nature of work that Cisco is in. And of course, I often highlighted news and stories that were directly related to the services that Cisco provided. Yeah, so for anybody who followed my LinkedIn and even Facebook social media accounts during that time, which was August to October last year, you would have noticed that I was very active on social media, and it helped spread the word about the company. It helped enhance brand awareness for the company, build the brand, market the company, and achieve publicity as well. Yeah, so I did all that in terms of social media for the company as well. Yeah, and another thing I did through my business development work was that after pitching to a wide number of prospects, I was able to secure some tender invitations for the company. Yeah, and this was a big deal or a big achievement because not every company in Malaysia, especially private security companies, get the opportunity to participate in a security tender. Yeah, a lot of times you have to know the right connections. You have to go through a very lengthy screening process, and sometimes you could even be left out of it. Yeah. So the fact that I managed to secure these invites was a very positive and great achievement on my side, especially since I was new to the company. Yeah. And another positive thing, another remarkable or noteworthy thing that I achieved for the company was that I secured a number of business appointments with certain heads of security and directors of security of organizations in the country for Cisco to meet and possibly secure a security contract or negotiate a deal. Yeah. For example, Shangri-La Hotel Kuala Lumpur, they were interested in hiring 3 Nepalese security guards, and such direct hires, it did not need to go through a massive or public tender exercise, and it was something that could be handled directly, by a business to business kind of way. Yeah. So these are the opportunities that I created for the company. Unfortunately, because I was restricted in my role to actually meet these prospects, I never had the chance to follow up on my business development activities, and therefore I never had the chance to secure any real security contracts and tenders for Cisco. Yeah. So because of that limitation, that was predominantly the main reason why I left. I left Cisco because I knew that if I was not allowed to go to the ground and meet these prospects to disclose more about the company and have that face-to-face conversation with them and really find out, how it is that we can come and help you out, it would be very futile for me to go on. Yeah, because there's only so much that you can do through emails and cold calls, that the rest of it, you need to have a personal touch. You need to see people, you need to meet them, you need to build that connection. Yeah. So I left mainly because of that, and also mainly because the new interim CEO wanted me to deviate from my work. He started roping me in to do like customer relationship management activities, which was already being handled by one of our GMs, and wanted to sidetrack me into doing other things as well, which I didn't really want to do. Yeah. The fact of the matter is, I was very determined and focused on winning new clients and contracts for Cisco, and I came very close. Had I not been refrained or restrained from having those face-to-face appointments. And to share with you, as any smart marketeer, business development person, or even salesperson would know, when you set these appointments up with clients or with prospects, you need to have some sort of presentation material. Yeah. And so I developed for them for the first time ever a corporate leaflet or corporate booklet, which was just a few pages long, that concisely highlighted what the company was all about, what it offered, and how it could come in and help out various businesses. Yeah. So I had all of that planned and ready to go. And you know, it was like I said, you know, on the verge of securing some deals because I was prohibited from the face-to-face meetings. The contracts or the signing of agreements did not transpire. Yeah, so that's that's the whole story of it, and that's the truth of the matter. Yeah, if any of you, especially in the HR fraternity, heard something else, then you know I'm sorry to say that you are misinformed, because at the end of the day, as far as branding, communications, and business development work are concerned, I covered all those three areas, and I did my work well. Yeah, in fact, um, I was probably the hardest worker when I was with them in those 2+ months I was attached to Cisco, and I put in a lot of energy, a lot of effort, a lot of time doing research and prospecting, you know, which probably hadn't been done before. And after I left, I was also told that you know they didn't quite make as much progress or uh, or you know make headlines and achieve the recognition and awareness that I helped them achieve. Yeah. So I'm not trying to brag about my achievements, but that's the truth of the matter. Uh, and I think the point that I would like to also emphasize here is that for recruiters out there, don't be discouraged or don't be fooled by my short term or period with them. It was just a little over 2 months. Try to understand the reasons why I left and how after I left, 25 of the employees also left. And from there, you'll get you get a better picture of how things were run. Yeah. So nobody can say that it was my fault for not bringing in new business because I was restricted from meeting potential clients and prospects. And at the same time, to be fair to the company, you know, you can't blame all of top management. People on the inside knew what was going on, so we knew that you know the interim CEO, for example, was not somebody who was the best fit for the job, or not somebody that really could take the company up to the next level. Yeah. Okay. Having said that, let me just briefly share with you some of the work that I completed over there. And this is just to prove to you guys that, you know, I did a considerable amount of work, and I did create some important company material and decks. So let me see 1 second if I can just share the screen with you. Okay. All right. Okay. So the first item that you should see on the screen is the Cisco company profile. Okay. So I helped come up with this new company profile with a tagline as Malaysia's #1 security employer, which the owner and managing director at that time wanted. It was followed by an executive summary talking about how in today's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, it is becoming increasingly important for private individuals and businesses alike to keep themselves safe and secure all the time, at all times, yeah, and so forth. And okay, in the table of contents, of course, the first part is an introduction to Cisco, and then it goes into their core services, which is security services, armed and unarmed guards. Then, of course, we have biosecurity services, which is basically related to containing and eradicating COVID. Investigation services, this is sort of like private eye, private detective type of work, which the company offered. Case management services, these are more legal type of matters, legal type of activities and work, which the company provided as well, and they were beneficial to clients who needed documentation for their court cases and court hearings. Yeah, and then of course ESG, which was a buzzword at that time. We made sure to be seen as a company that was ESG compliant and adhere to these principles and practices. Yeah. So all that was incorporated into the deck, and I also include a bit about RBA standards, and RBA standards are really labor standards or labor compliance standards that apply to the manufacturing industry and into the industrial industry. But because Cisco as a security company also hires manual labor workers, your security guards, to some extent, it did fall under these standards. So I prepared a slide outlining how Cisco was compliant with these standards in terms of labor, post-employment, young workers, working hours, and so forth. And that was to help make sure and project that we were a world-class type of entity, that we met industrial requirements and laws and regulations, and that we were a company that was socially responsible and can be trusted. Yeah, and of course, I also included a slide on why prospects should hire us. And in bullet points, I identified our strengths and key offerings. And of course, last but not least, I also shared or highlighted the company's revenue or financial performance over the past 5 years prior to 2022, which shows an incremental growth year on year. And this is something positive because I think all prospects or all potential clients, they would want to pair themselves up with a company that is thriving, a company that is growing, and a company that is progressive. Yeah, I don't think there is any business out there or any corporation out there that wants to deal with a loss-making company. Yeah, so these figures are important, and they were incorporated into the deck. Yeah. Okay, so that's as much as the corporate profile is concerned. Next, let me share with you the customer acquisition deck that I prepared for one of the GMs over there. This is again to pitch Cisco's positioning as Malaysia's #1 security employer. And of course, the main objective is to sell the idea and notion of why people should do business with us. Yeah. So yeah, here's my introduction. It's similar to the company profile. Then I have my table of contents. It talks about the company's core services, locations covered, training provided. It even provides a sample profile of guard that we can hire for you. And again, it talks about ESG and RBA standards that Cisco was compliant to. Yeah. So the material for this deck, if I can share with you, together with the company profile, a lot of it was derived from the content that was already on the company's official website. That way, all I had to do was just sort of reuse material that was already approved by management without having to reinvent the wheel, without having to go through the tedious process of getting word for word or text by text and image by image approved by management. Yeah. And what I did was that I just expanded a little bit on some of their offerings and services, just so that people got a better idea of what the company could deliver. Yeah. So, okay, here's a picture of 2 actual guards from Cisco and how they dress and how they look like. This particular guard over here, he was attached to one of their clients at the KLCC, which is the major shopping mall here in Kuala Lumpur. This other chap, he's actually from the main office, but he just suited up the uniform just for photography purposes. Yeah. Okay. So next, I'll take you to the customer retention deck. Okay, now this is an interesting deck because the truth of the matter is that not all companies create such a customer retention deck. Yeah, and the main reason is that a lot of companies believe that they have a secure or solid enough relationship with their clients, whereby they sometimes forget to highlight their relationship or sort of remind the clients why they should stick with them. Yeah. So this deck was meant to be shared with existing clients who were on the verge um, of having our contracts renewed or closed. So we just wanted to emphasize to them that, hey, in the time that we've been in business with you, we've achieved so much, historically speaking, and we sorted out and solved the major issues for you. And these could be anything from trespassing, lack of security surveillance, no patrolling, to inadequate security personnel, lack of security checks, high cases of theft and property damage, and so forth. Yeah. So we just wanted to remind them what we had achieved and done for these clients, and take them through the journey so that they remember. Yeah. And we also highlighted success stories or wins that we achieved together with the client. And yeah, so this is elaborated a little bit more. And I also created a slide that pitted our activities before and after we came in. Yeah. So from here, they could see for themselves how things were before when they didn't have us, and then how much things have improved after we came in. Yeah. So I think this is a very helpful slide, and it's a helpful and effective presentation to share with clients, especially if you're on the verge of having your deal or contract expire and it needs to be renewed, or just for the simple fact that if they change management and the new people in charge might have ideas about renegotiating the contract or even nullifying the contract, you can always show them this slide to reinforce your argument on why we should stay in business. Yeah. Okay. Next, okay, I'll share with you a customized security pitch deck. Yeah, that I developed for one of our prospects, which is called ST Microelectronics. They are a manufacturing firm over in Penang, and a couple of our senior management personnel were scheduled for an appointment with them, and so I helped develop this deck or this PowerPoint presentation pack, which they could use for the presentation, yeah, or for the pitch. Yeah, so again, we covered what Cisco is about, our core services, and all that. And if you notice by the visuals, yeah, I've used very progressive, fresh, cutting edge, and high tech type of visuals to really sell the idea that Cisco is an advanced company. It is a company that is aligned with the latest developments and technological changes. We know how to use CCTVs. We know how to use walkie-talkies and things of that nature, and we know how to do surveillance. Yeah. So all of that is captured in the visuals, and it helps give prospects a better idea of what we can do physically in terms of security. Yeah. Okay. Now the last bit of graphic that I'd like to share with you is this marketing communication process and cycle, which I helped expand for our interim CEO. And basically it goes through the whole process of how to do business development work, yeah? So it starts off by listing our core services, and then below it, I've typed in, or I've identified what our target was, our target market. For example, here for guarding services, we wanted to secure 10% of the security market that desires consistent services, values good documentation, is willing or able to pay for our services. And for business surveillance services, we targeted law firms and other organizations and professions that require surveillance and background checking services, for example. Yeah. And then from there, I also helped develop some new brand positioning statements, mottos, and taglines, as well as key corporate messages for the MD, owner, and the interim CEO. So one of them, for example, was that we are a socially responsible security employer. We provide services. We're compliant in terms of employment and regulations. We provide good documentation. We comply with the government's new regulations for a minimum wage of 1,500 ringgit and so forth. Yeah. And then, of course, the key corporate messages below, which I had prepared, was things like we've been in the security industry in Malaysia for 45 years now, so we know and understand the issues, concerns, and challenges that organizations as well as individuals face. We are reliable, and we have reliable and disciplined security guards, and these can be hard to find these days. So you don't have to worry about guards that do not fit the role or will gossip 24/7 and things of that nature. Yeah, because the fact of the matter is there are some dodgy and shady security companies out there who even hire convicts or ex-cons as security guards. Yeah, so Cisco did not do that, not as far as my knowledge is concerned. And furthermore, we had a good trainer by the name of Major Bacharan. He always trained guards to behave appropriately, to behave in a customer-friendly manner when they needed to, and to respond to threats in a permissible manner. Yeah. So, having crafted these corporate messages, this you can say was part of my corporate communications or branding-related activities for them. Together with the positioning statements that I expanded on. And below, I identified, the tools that we had for business development, which were the different databases which I had developed, and the tools that we could use for pitching. Yeah, and it's all self-explanatory. So basically, with this marketing and communication cycle, anybody who wanted to do business development for them just refer to this visual and pick up from where I left off. Yeah, so it was very helpful in terms of creating or illustrating a process, and all it needed was to be followed through and to be followed up. Yeah. Okay. So I would like to wrap things up by, hold on, yeah. Okay, I'd like to wrap things up by saying that at the end of the day, my 2+ months with Cisco, for me, was quite an interesting adventure. I did accomplish things that I was responsible for as far as branding, corporate communications, and business development work was concerned. It's just that in terms of securing the deals, I was handicapped and restrained, so that prevented me from clinching any major contracts for them. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure that I could have secured at least a handful of contracts. Those needing urgent security manpower, and not your massive open tender type of exercises, which would take months and sometimes even years to process and clear. Yeah. So long story short, I was effective in my role. I did a good job, and I think moving forward, potential employers that are looking at my CV at the moment or looking at what I achieved back there should not have any concerns about my capabilities. And frankly speaking, I think you should hire me, to handle branding, corporate communications, and business development if you need help in those areas. Yeah. So thanks for listening. This is Razor Moving signing out. Peace.